Welcome into the Big Friday Kickoff podcast. I'm Emily Cochran. He's Robert Ristaneo. We have officially made it to the Super 7 this week. We have 4 teams headed into the finals. In 3A, we've got Bayside Academy. In 4A, we have reigning 4A state champion, the Jackson Aggies. In 5A, we have the Viger Wolves. And then in 6A, of course, we have the Saraland Spartans. A lot of great teams. I think maybe some that are in that we maybe didn't expect based on how the postseason looked. But if we go back and look at the regular season and kind of what we were predicting early on, I'd say that some of these guys that are in are teams that we said, we could see them there.
Yeah, I mean, these are all teams that basically rolled through the regular season. I mean, Bayside had that hiccup to begin the year against St. Michael, which is understandable. And, Viger's only losses came to Williamson in an overtime game and then to 7A Baker to close the year, and both those games were close. So both these teams, or all 4 of these teams really, have kind of positioned themselves to run through the postseason and make it to the Super 7. So, I think maybe there were a team or two here or there that we thought would be here, maybe St. Michael instead of Jackson, or maybe Leroy down in 1A. But nonetheless, yeah, I mean, I think these were 4 teams that we all kind of thought we could possibly see them in Birmingham, come the end of the year.
What do you think is probably the biggest surprise? Out of all 4, maybe who are you the most surprised by that's at this point? If you just had to rank it, because I think they're all great, super talented teams that played well all season long. They're obviously here for a reason. But out of all the matchups last week, because we had some regular season matchups, who are you the most surprised by that got here?
Well, I think the 2 easy ones would be Jackson over St. Michael and Viger over Williamson. I think both those could have gone either way.
But we picked Viger.
We did, yeah, we did.
Which, honestly, part of me is like a little surprised, and part of me isn't, because I based on how they played throughout the postseason, and then when we went out there for Big Friday Kickoff the week before, I think that Viger was playing so well, and I hate it for Williamson because they had a historic season for their program. They were ranked the #1 team in the state in 5A for the first time in program history, so that's a huge accomplishment. They were region champions. But Viger, you can just tell they're hungry.
Yeah.
They are so hungry, and head coach Renardo Jackson, those guys, you can just tell they want this so badly. And I know that every team does, but it's something about the Viger Wolves and that program and that energy. I feel really confident about them going into the finals this week.
Yeah, they definitely have an interesting matchup. We can kind of go through them here. I guess now you want to start in 6A? I guess start at the top.
Yeah, let's go ahead. We can start at the top.
Yeah.
I think because this is a repeat matchup in the finals. These 2 teams have played before, Saraland and Clay Chalkville.
Yes.
I'm trying to think what final was it they played.
So this was the 2023 final.
Yep.
This was Ryan Williams versus Jalen Mbakwe.
Yep, and they're both at Alabama now.
Both at Alabama.
Very
podcast
good,
hosts, I guess.
Very good friends.
Yep.
I know there was a period of time where Mbakwe was going to transfer. He hit the portal, and everyone was saying that Ryan Williams is one of the best recruiters for the Crimson Tide because he got Jalen to stay, which I think is really cool to see their relationship. 2 guys that played against each other in a crucial moment for a state title, and now they're both at Alabama and very, very good friends. So this is a cool story. This is a cool matchup, and I'm pretty sure, didn't that loss came down to the final play of the game? Was this
This was the one where so Clay Chalkville won 31-28, and this was the play where KJ Lacey on the very last play
had the QB keep
and got hit at the 4-yard line.
Yeah, and Jeff Kelly didn't go for the field goal, and he could have to tie the game.
That's right.
And then they also didn't put it in the hands of Ryan Williams. They let KJ run it with the QB keep, and I think that's something. Looking back at it, we were all kind of like, okay, Coach Kelly, what was the line of thinking here? And I remember at the post game after that game, I remember Coach Kelly being like, "That one's on me. I'm the coach. I make the decision. That's a decision that's on me." And I know that for high school kids, when you put all the pressure on the field goal kicker, that's a lot. And I know it is a lot of pressure in college and the NFL, but especially in high school, you just don't see, at least in my experience from being here, you're not seeing kids that are just exceptional field goal kickers.
Well,
we've had a few.
Sure.
But it's different.
Well, it's very similar to any other position in football where, there's a million high school kickers, only a handful of them go and play college. You know what I mean? So you don't have that that security blanket that once you get up to sort of college in the NFL that, you know, you've got that kicker that you can rely on from 40 yards and in or whatever it is. You know,
it's guaranteed points.
Yeah, it's just different in high school. So, yes, they get Clay Chalkville again. Clay Chalkville comes in undefeated, 14-0. They have 4 recruits in the Alabama Top 100 this year. And then the 22nd ranked recruit in next year's class as a junior. Let me tell you a little bit about Corey Barber. So this will be close to home for you. He is a Clay Chalkville receiver, 6th ranked player in this class.
Who's he committed to?
Well, he was committed to Ole Miss.
When did he flip?
Flipped to LSU.
Like today? Was this today?
I think it was because I looked at it last night and he still wasn't committed anywhere.
That dirty dog, Lane Kiffin. He is a dirty dog. Can't keep his own dog, but he's a dirty dog.
That's right.
You know what? Good luck. Literally, I wish you the best of luck. I'm not going to get too much into that. But you know what? Good for him. LSU is a great program, and that just goes to show that obviously this receiver is extremely talented.
Yes. Yeah, sixth ranked player in this class. They've got a running back, Josh Woods, over 1,400 yards, 23 touchdowns. Their quarterback, Aaron Fry, he's a senior, has just under 2,000 passing yards, 1,400 rushing yards, and 39 total touchdowns. So a little similar to Jamison Roberts.
Going to be a bit of a QB battle here.
Yeah, a little bit of a runner, a little bit of a passer. They have 3 players in their secondary that are all top 100 recruits in the state of Alabama. So Deshaun Spencer, he's going to have his hands full with this secondary.
If anyone can do it.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a great game.
I think so. I mean, I hope so. We've always talked about Saraland. There's really no doubt when it comes to Saraland. The only time I was ever worried about Saraland is when they were playing, is it Spain Park? And that game was 35-31 in the playoffs? Or was it Pike Road?
Yes.
I don't know why, but I get Spain Park and Pike Road confused. It's something about the P's and the S's. They get me jumbled sometimes. But, yeah, that's the only time I was ever concerned about Saraland. And, I mean, but this is probably going to be the toughest test that they have faced all season. I'm sure there's going to be, there's also history. Because we talked about it at the beginning of the show. I mean, this is a repeat from 2023. And Saraland has gone to the state final game, the last pretty much every year that I've been here.
Yes.
2022, 2023, 2024. They won it in 2022, dropped it in 2023. Yep. Who did they knock them out last season?
Parker, I believe.
That's right, it was Parker, the Thundering Herd.
And they had the kid who's at Oregon now, Naheem Offord, I think, or something like that.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. So this is one of those things that Saraland got it in 2022. It was their first state title in program history. Then they go in 2023, 2024. They make it all the way to the state championship game, and they drop it.
Yep.
You've got to think Jeff Kelly and these guys are hungry. They don't want a red map.
Yep.
They want a blue map. They want that first place spot. And standing in their way is Clay Chalkville, a very, very talented team. I think that there might be a little more on the line for Saraland. Because if you keep going, it's one of those things, and I've said this before on this show, it's like the Ricky Bobby saying, if you ain't first, you're last. Right. You go through, summer and spring training and fall camp, and you do it all for this moment.
Yep.
And if you go all the way and you only get second place, what? Come on.
Yeah, I think Saraland, I think they have a lot to prove kind of to themselves in this game because, like you said, if you drop 3 straight state championship games, that's really deflating, as a program that, you keep getting to the mountaintop and just can't get back on top.
You can't finish.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I mean, it's literally like the last game of the season and you can't finish. I mean, they haven't done it since 2022. That was the first and last time. But, I mean, Jeff Kelly's a winner. He's a proven winner. These guys are proven winners. They just haven't been able to win on the biggest stage.
Yeah.
But I do think this is going to be a very, very good game. Dacian Smith left last night. He was headed out as soon as I was kind of headed out. He's on the road, or he's up there now, going to have a ton of previews of every single one of these games, all the highlights from every game. He's a machine out there, and we're going to have all that content right here on Big Friday Kickoff. So this is a game that I'm really, really looking forward to. And also the fact that we have 4 teams.
Yes.
That's another thing I probably should have mentioned at the beginning. We have 4 teams.
That's
right.
The
only other time that we've had 4 teams here in the state finals was 2023? Was it 2022?
Yes. Yeah.
Was it 2023?
Yep.
Because we had Mobile Christian.
Yep.
We had Leroy, 1A Leroy, and then Mobile Christian when they were still in 3A. And then we had
Gulf Shores,
and
Saraland.
It was Saraland, and that's the year that. Wait, was that the year that Saraland won?
No, that's the year they lost.
The year they lost. Okay, so we got 3 state titles that year. That was the year Saraland lost. Okay, interesting.
So hopefully we can go 4-0 this year. I think a couple of these teams have a pretty good shot at it. I think a couple of our teams have a harder task ahead of them, I guess you could say. But I think I'm rolling with Saraland in this game. I think I think Deshaun Spencer, him and Jamison Roberts have just been lights out lately, and I think that. And we should mention about Deshaun Spencer.
He was committed to Duke.
Yes.
Obviously early signing day was today.
Yes.
We had a ton of kids from our area sign, put pen to paper here in the early signing period. Deshaun Spencer flipped
to Auburn
from Duke to Auburn. As we know, Auburn just got a brand new head coach.
Yep.
They fired Hugh Freeze back during the regular season, and off to a hot start, keeping a very talented in-state guy.
Absolutely.
How cool is it going to be to see Ryan Williams on one sideline for the Crimson Tide, and then we're going to get to see Deshaun Spencer playing in orange and blue. I just think that's so cool because they're both Saraland guys.
Well, and not to mention all the receiver talent from this area that's at Auburn right now. Between
Perry Thompson,
Bryce Kane.
Bryce Kane from Baker.
Yep.
He actually got a little bit of playing time in the Iron Bowl. I got to see him. I went up there this past weekend, got to watch that game. When it got tied 2020, I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
That's another one of those things. I've said it before. Jordan Hare is haunted. And it was one of the coolest atmospheres. It really was. So the chance to get to go to an Iron Bowl next year and see these guys on opposite sidelines playing one another is just so cool. And I also want to give a shout out to Deontay Lawson from Mobile Christian. Had a crucial turnover at the end of the game, fumble recovery in like the final seconds, and really shut down that drive for Auburn. So big play for one of our local guys who's just an absolute menace on that Crimson Tide defense and a hometown hero for us. So shout out to Deontay Lawson.
There you go. Shout out to Deontay Lawson.
Sorry, I'm getting way off track over here.
No, you're fine. You're fine. So I think I think this is gonna be a fun game. Two very talented quarterbacks here with Jamison Roberts and Aaron Fry at Clay Chalkville. Let's move on down to 5A. Should we, before we get into this 5A game, should we mention the Twitter beef with Clay Chalkville's defensive line coach and Viger and Moody and all this?
Oh, God. Are we going to get in trouble? I mean, we've talked about social media beef on here before.
Yeah, let me just say this. I believe his name is Rock. He's the defensive line coach at Clay Chalkville. This past week, November 29th, which I guess was Saturday, I think? Yeah, Saturday.
I mean, the day after the semifinals.
Day after the semifinals.
Or was he not tweeting that night? Or was it the next day?
He was tweeting that night.
Okay. Them Twitter fingers were going. Excuse me.
Yeah, them Twitter fingers were certainly going. Talking about everyone recruiting and Viger having recruits and how he's going to turn Moody in and screenshots of Benjamin Russell recruiting players and yada 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 yada. That's just a sore loser attitude. You know what?
Okay, shots fired.
If you believe what you say and you actually believe you got some facts there, then go report it. Don't blast it all over Twitter because you're not. All this is Twitter fingers right here.
Keyboard cowboys.
And you know what? I think it's kind of funny that he hasn't tweeted a thing since November 29th. So I think someone told Rock to keep it down on Twitter.
Probably so. And that's one thing that we probably don't talk about enough is how I can't use the word that I want to say. Social media can hurt you.
Yes.
It can help you. It can absolutely help
Yep.
you. It's a vehicle for you to get your brand and get your name out there, and it does help so much with recruiting. And but you really have to watch what you say, because once you get it out there and it's out in the social media verse, it's out there forever.
Yep.
And you can get in a ton of trouble for the things that you say, and especially when it comes to athletics and when you make accusations and things like that. I think Exhibit A is good old Lane Kiffin himself. I mean, he's someone that is an avid keyboard cowboy. So as coaches, you really got to be careful, and players too. I mean, I know so many high school coaches that have to manage their players' social media
Sure.
to help them with recruiting, because it does play a part in what you're doing out in your personal life, plays a part in how you perform in your professional life, because college football is a profession now. So it's something that definitely college coaches look at. And so I think it's interesting that this is a high school coach doing this. And when we were talking about the whole Millery McIntosh social media beef, it was just different. I feel like that was all in like.
Millery didn't have a coach that went on Twitter threatening a bunch of schools to go turn them in. Millery just filed a complaint, and
they did it that way.
And that's the way you should do it.
Respectful.
If you feel like there's an issue. But don't go on there blasting the team that just beat you, because you really look like sore losers. And I think like I said, I just think it's ironic he hasn't tweeted anything since then. So.
I mean, what if he does put in a complaint and it's proven to be true?
Well, then that's a totally different thing. But
I mean, then we're going to be sitting here saying, like, Rock, you were right.
Yeah, and maybe you are right, but you're not going to prove yourself correct on Twitter. So
yeah. So look, social media is a scary beast.
You got to be careful.
You got to be careful. We know that better than anybody, I think.
Sure.
So it's just interesting to see all the. It was a really big thing when I was in high school, rivalry stuff. And, I mean, people were talking mess constantly, and you don't see as much of that anymore. So I think it's interesting that we have had that this week, especially in the postseason, and especially coming from a high school football coach.
Yep, no doubt. So anyway, putting that aside now, let's talk about this 5A. Yeah, let's talk about this 5A state championship. So we got 12-2 Viger versus 12-2 Moody. Moody's only losses came to a Gainesville, Georgia team and Auburn, the 7A Auburn. They were the state runners-up last year. They have 4 recruits in the top 100 and a top 15 recruit in next year's class. One of the best linebackers, junior Barack Willis. He's I feel like I've been hearing that name for the last year or two, but he is the number 8 player in the 2027 class.
Interesting.
They got a quarterback, Jake Lowry, who's thrown for over 3,000 yards, 35 touchdowns. LaCameron Meadows at running back, over 1,200 yards, 13 touchdowns. He's the 88th ranked player in the class. Josiah Dozier, he's the 36th ranked player at receiver, 721 yards, 13 touchdowns. And they got a loaded defense full of all kinds of talented players, future Division I players. This game might have the most talent on the field out of all the Super 7 games. I think between the amount of talent Viger's got, especially on defense, the amount of talent Moody's got also, especially on defense, this is going to be an interesting game. I think both defenses show up. I think it's going to be about which offense can kind of break through in this one.
Yeah, I would say so. Speaking of talent on Viger's team, we had 2 guys from Viger sign today, or yesterday. Actually, they did their signing day a day early because they got on the road yesterday evening to head up to the Super 7. Sammy Dunn, who this was a surprise to me. It really was. Sammy was committed to Army for quite a while, I would say, and then ended up, I know he just had a visit to Jackson State, which is in Mississippi. It's where Coach Prime used to coach.
Sure.
And he just took a visit there pretty recently, and then on signing day decided to sign with Jackson State. And then Dylan Jackson, do we know where Dylan ended up signing with?
I do not know. Let me
see if Coach May texted me and said. But like I was saying, I think that's just so interesting to me about Sammy. I guess I just didn't see that maybe I didn't see it coming. He was just committed to Army for so long.
Right.
And I thought that he really, really loved it there. But sometimes you go visit a place and you're like, yeah, this is the place for me. This is my home. This is where I want to be. So that was just an interesting flip. And Sammy's a 3-star. So that's for Jackson State to get that commitment, to get that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a really, really big deal. I think it's funny because when we were talking about this last night with Kip, the whole time Kip thought we were talking about Jacksonville State.
Right.
In Alabama.
Yeah.
It was so funny. And he's telling us these stories, and we got way too far into the stories to even tell him.
Right.
No, sorry.
No.
Jackson State and Mississippi, Kip. Sorry. But anyways, I'm going to try and figure out where Dylan ended up signing. But, I think this is going to be a really, really good matchup.
Yeah.
This is a huge opportunity for Viger. Knocking off Williamson last week, that was such a good game.
Yep.
Of course, Ladd was packed. That was our game of the week. For Viger to get that win, and we both felt it. Like, we just both felt like if anyone really had an opportunity to, complete, and if you want to call it an upset.
Sure.
Because it was the number 1 and number 2 team during the regular season and just flopped number 1, number 2 team in the postseason. Huge attendance out there.
It was essentially a home game for both teams.
Yes. And another thing I think that we've learned through this is, like, it's really not a rivalry. These two programs don't hate one another. They actually have a ton of respect for one another.
Right.
The players, the coaching staffs. I think it's just two very elite programs that have played well all season. But Viger came into that one knowing, like, that's one that we should not have dropped during the regular season. We're not going to drop it here in the postseason. And I think if Viger carries that same energy into this week with all the talent that they have, and I think that they just feel really good with their coaching staff right now. And they just seem, I don't know, it just something seems different about this season than seasons past, because Viger's made great playoff runs. And it's also interesting to me that Viger has had a different head coach pretty much since I've been here.
Oh, yeah. It's basically one a year.
I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who was the head coach when I first got here. He's the OC at Williamson now.
Shoot, that's going to drive me nuts. It's
he was really close.
Marcus Cook.
Okay, yeah. And incredible coach. I'm trying to think who's the player from that was at Viger and transferred to Theodore and then went to
Micah Dubose.
Yeah, Micah Dubose. I mean, they did so well with him. But that's the thing. You have such a great coach at Viger every season. You've got Marcus Cook the year that I got here, and then you go back to the OG.
John McKenzie.
Yep, John McKenzie. He comes back, coaches, takes you to a semi. Was it semi where they knocked out of the
semis
was it semi?
last year, yeah.
They got knocked out of the semis, and then obviously this year you've got Renardo Jackson, who is taking them to the finals, and this is his first year as a head coach. Was originally at LaFleur. I mean, that's a huge deal. And you could tell from his post-game press conference with Dacian, he's worked at Viger before and has ties to Viger, and this is just the one thing he said is, like, he knows that there's a standard of winning at Viger, and when he came in, he wanted to continue that success.
Yep.
And he's done that.
Yeah.
So, and I think that also comes with just the great coaching staff that he has and how bought in the Viger community is into this program. And you've got great alumni that support that program as well. So I have a feeling. I really do. I have a feeling that this could be Viger's year.
Yeah, I think so. Moody is coming in as the state runner-up. They lost a close one last year to Montgomery Catholic, I think 14-17. So, they've been thinking about that all offseason.
100%.
And they brought most of that team back. It's very similar to Viger, where they lost in the semis to Montgomery Catholic, but returned most of that team from last year. So, they're hungry. These are two really physical, athletic, hungry teams. And I think this is going to make for a very, very good state championship game. I think we're both picking Viger. We're picking our teams anyway, so
I wouldn't pick against them.
Yeah.
Who do you think out of all of our teams, we've talked about 6A, we've talked about 5A, who do you think has the biggest test out of all four of our teams? Competition-wise.
Bayside, I think.
Do you think so?
Yeah, and we can get into them in a second. Yeah, I think it's Bayside.
Okay.
For reasons that we can talk about here momentarily.
Oh, I thought you were going to say we could. I thought you were going to say we couldn't talk about. I was like,
Oh, no.
Hold on, they beefing over at Bayside too? Dang.
No.
More Twitter fingers?
Bayside and Mars Hill Bible School are not beefing.
Oh,
I think,
okay.
I think that'd be the funniest beef in the history of beefs.
You can't do that to me.
Anyway, so yeah, I mean, anything else here left to say about 5A? I mean, I think big Sammy Dunn game, big Jabarius Gare game. You know, I think they need the stars to show up, and I think they will.
I absolutely think so too. I'm trying to see where Dylan signed yesterday because I would love to shout him out and say, congrats. I'm trying to see if I can find any photos or anything.
I want to say it was what was it? Like Samford, was it?
Well, I'm looking at his Twitter, and he had the last time he posted about, I guess, Miles College, or is it Mills College? Miles College offered him, and Mississippi Valley State offered him.
Yeah, I don't know if he signed anywhere. His 24/7 profile doesn't have a team on it.
Oh, okay, because I mean it was supposed to be him and Sammy, Sammy Dunn and Dylan Jackson. They signed yesterday.
Oh.
Let me see if I can get Coach May to text me back while we're recording. Shout out to Coach May. He is in charge of a ton of the. He basically helps all the players with the recruitment process and recruiting and making sure they get their film out into the right hands and helping these kids get to the next level, and does an amazing job. I think last year's signing class literally this time last year was the largest signing class that Viger football has ever had. Mm-hmm. I think they had 15 student athletes sign. I mean, it was a huge, big enough that they had mannequins on the stage with Viger jerseys lined up. It was insane. So shout out to Coach May for everything he does to help these guys make it to the next level. I know that those kids absolutely adore him.
Yeah.
Just great guy, and does so much for that program.
Yeah, so
so we can come back to Dylan Jackson once I get this answer, but we can go ahead and move on to 3A.
4A?
4A. Let's go to 4A. Let's do it in backwards numerical order.
This speaking of which team has the hardest test, this is the one I'm probably most confident in.
Which is wild to me because...
And I think if St. Michael had made it instead of Jackson, I still think I probably would have felt the same way. I think those were just the two best teams.
Can we talk about what happened last week?
Yeah.
I really want to know. So the final was what, 44-23?
29? Did they end up getting to 29? Let me see.
I really hope it's 44-23.
Yes, it was. Yep.
Okay, because I put that in my script today.
Yeah.
I was about to say I gotta go correct this graphic really fast. I think that was the matchup of the semifinals that I was most surprised by.
Yep.
But after talking with Coach Flo during the week and doing, I went up there and did a game preview with him and spoke to EJ, and he just talked about how well his fans travel, and and that they are also a team like Viger that felt like during the regular season that's a game that they wanted back. And he said, I'm so excited to see all that purple and gold in the stands. And me and Nicholas Herboso went out to St. Michael to do some preview stuff. We got there around 5 o'clock, 2 hours before kickoff, and those visitor stands were slam full, and it was cold, and everybody was on the sidelines. The Jackson folks had their camouflage on. It was camouflage, purple and gold.
That's awesome.
And a really, really great game for Jackson. I know that they got one of the Chapman brothers back at receiver. He'd been injured, came back. Is it red or black?
Keon.
Is that red or black?
I can't remember.
It's funny because their nicknames are red or black.
But you got Keegan and Keon.
See, that would confuse me. That would totally confuse me. And they got him back, and that's just a huge weapon for Landon Duckworth to have, in his arsenal on offense. And then of course EJ Crowell doing what he does. Another tremendous game for him. I mean, I seriously, that kid cannot be stopped.
No.
He can be quieted, not by much, but he cannot be stopped. He will not be denied into the end zone. That boy is not even a boy. That's a man.
Well,
so talented.
And that to me is why I just feel like I heard someone say this earlier today, and I feel like we've been saying it for weeks, but Jackson feels like they've slowly been ramping up to their best football. It's almost like they've just been doing enough to get by each game. And you look at last week against St. Michael. This was the first time I really felt like they kind of cranked it up a little bit, because EJ got the ball 26 times for 230 yards. That's the most carries he's had all season. Mm-hmm. Landon Duckworth only attempted 9 passes, but ran it 14 times for over 200 yards. I just feel like worst case scenario for this Jackson team, Landon and EJ can just run the ball 45 times, and you're not going to be able to do anything about it.
Landon has really started to ramp back up here in the postseason. He's our player of the week this week. Yep. He's our reigning player of the year.
Yes.
I mean, just had such a big season last season, and I feel like the Landon that I'm seeing now is the Landon that we saw last year. Mm-hmm. I feel like he's just really, and I don't know what the explanation is for that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's just really picked it up here in the postseason. Just had such a good game Friday night. Was a big part of why they got that win. I mean, between him and EJ, and now, I mean, having, the Chapman brothers and Juice Gordon and Isaiah Gladney. Like, they've just got so much talent on offense. But I talked to Coach Flo about this last week. Like, they feel really confident about their defense as well.
Oh, yeah.
So when you've got all those things working on both sides of the ball, it's just you really can't be stopped, and they really cranked it up a notch. And I don't know what wasn't working for St. Michael. I
think it was probably just the athleticism of this Jackson defense, and now that they're healthy, they had 9 tackles for loss, 5 sacks. I think that they probably just kind of overwhelmed St. Michael a little bit with their athleticism, and St. Michael tried to fight back there towards the end, but they kind of got a touchdown late. That game was going to be like 44-15,
Yeah. It was looking concerning there for a while. Like, I remember coming in at halftime and looking at the score when we had our halftime score updates and thinking, what the heck is going on? Like, is Noah Moss hurt? Is he out? Is Brody Jones hurt? Like, what's Tucker doing? Like, were there any turnovers?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, that's interesting. Because, I mean, that's one of those things, like, turnovers can really be a deciding factor in games like that.
Yeah, no, I mean, not that I can see.
I know, congratulations to St. Michael on just such a historic season. Head coach Phillip Rivers, just what he's done in such a short time there, as young as that program is.
And Noah Moss.
Yes. Okay, so Noah Moss, and I'm so sorry, South Alabama fans. I know, like, y'all hate to see this. I'm so sorry, but Noah Moss, extremely talented running back, broke a 4A state record for rushing yards in a single game in the first round of the playoffs, has been committed to South Alabama for quite some time now, and today he signed with NC State, which is Phillip Rivers' alma mater, which I think is very cool, and I hate it for Jags fans, but I'm extremely happy for Noah, and that's got to be a cool experience between head coach and player. You get to go play at the place that, like, built me, and I'm sure they've got some connections there, and I'm sure Coach Rivers helped him throughout the recruitment process. But I mean, I hate to say this, but like I think I might have spoken about this last week or the week before. I just really thought that Noah was going to end up going somewhere else because I think that he just had such a strong season, and I don't want to say it's not like I feel like he's too good for South Alabama.
No,
it's just.
He's really blown up this year.
Yes, and I've, in my opinion, felt like he was an SEC caliber talent. But I mean, NC State is also a very great program.
No doubt.
We've also got Ronnie Royal from Gulf Shores out there. So that'll be cool to have a local tie. I mean, Noah will go up there, and it's not like he'll be completely alone. Mm-hmm. He'll have a fellow.
And it makes you wonder where Gunner's head's at.
That's what I'm interested about. Yeah. Like, would Gunner want to follow in Phillip's footsteps? Would he want to pave his own way? Because that's something we see sometimes with players and coaches when it's the father-son
Yeah.
duo as well. Like you've got some that are like, oh, I want to follow what my dad did and continue that legacy, and then you've got some others that are like, no, absolutely not. Like
Right.
I want to blaze my own trail, do my own thing, make a name for myself, and so it'll be really interesting to find out what Gunnar does, because I mean this is the end of his junior season, like headed into his senior year. I wonder if his recruitment process is going to pick up now that we're in the off season.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
Because when we spoke with him and Coach Rivers before, Coach Rivers was very adamant that Gunnar is just like, I guess Coach Rivers or Philip, dad, whatever, asking Gunnar like, hey, do you want to go take a visit here? Do you want to go do this, whatever? And Gunnar's just very like nonchalant, like, no, just like, no, Dad, I want to focus on this.
Yep.
I want to focus on the season. So now that their season has ended, you got to expect that he's probably going to be going on some visits. I mean, this is prime time to go get some visits in. Please, please, please don't go play for LSU. I beg you, please, please, please. I don't care where you go. It can be anywhere else. I would honestly, genuinely, I would be happier if he went and played at Mississippi State than if he went and played at LSU. I genuinely feel that way.
This is a very bitter Ole Miss fan we got here, folks.
Oh, so bitter. Like, I don't think there's anything more bitter than me right now. I'm extremely, extremely hurt. But, yeah, and then, of course, Landon, I wonder if, like, because if they did their signing stuff today.
I mean, it looks like he's still South Carolina.
I would think so, yeah, because that's another one that Landon, he was committed to South Carolina for quite a while, decommitted, recommitted, and I just wonder about Shane Beamer's future at South Carolina. What's that going to look like? Like, will Landon still, like, what could happen during the offseason? Will Landon still be there? Could he hit the portal at some point if coaching things change? But I think it just goes to show, because we're sitting here talking about it's signing day and these kids signing and these programs they're going to. These teams have so much talent, and we get to see that take the field in the finals this week, and that's something I'm so excited for. But you got to think it's a big week for them. They're putting pen to paper, deciding where they're going to go next season. But you got to think they're locked in and ready for these matchups this week. Yeah,
no doubt. And I think Jackson, they're playing Anniston. Anniston 14-0, which is no small feat.
No.
They beat Plainview last week on a last-second play to win 32-29. This is their first state title game since 1994. But yeah, I just think the pedigree of Jackson, the talent of Jackson, and the fact that I think they're just going to unleash everything they have in the state title game. I think that's a lot for anyone to stop, much less a 4A team. So. Yeah, I'm rolling with the Aggies in this one. I think this is the safest pick out of our four teams for this week is Jackson against Anniston.
I would say so. And I spoke with Landon and Coach yesterday, just about this matchup, how they feel going into it. Obviously, Landon being as our player of the week came off a great performance last week against St. Michael. And when I went out there for practice, I mean, it is like 12 degrees colder up in Jackson than it is down here right now. And I'm not a cold weather person, like, whatsoever. And when the entire time I'm interviewing Landon, like, my teeth are chattering.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm so sorry, Landon. Like, I'm shivering right now. But I do have a couple of sound bites.
Okay.
From Coach Flo and Landon. And, just previewing this game and talking a little bit about how they feel going into the finals. Huge win for you guys over St. Michael. So just talk about that win and then how you guys feel going into this week.
I guess, losing the game mid-year and then coming back and playing that one, there's a lot of motivation there to get out and play well. And so in an off week, you worry about your teenagers not being in school, not being in their regular routine. But they did a good job last week preparing for that game, which just gives me a lot of encouragement going in this week where things are just not normal. Because we're traveling up to Birmingham, and then we got a lot of a lot of things that are going on this week. It's almost like a homecoming week where a lot of people are trying to feed us. A lot of people want to do stuff for us, and so we just being able to handle that. So being able to handle it last week and then rolling right into this championship week, I feel good about the Aggies. One of the things that we've had some issues with was turnovers, so we've been working on that this week, just playing a clean game. Anderson's big, fast, strong, physical football team. And, one of the things, we don't want to have a letdown coming off a big win against St. Michael, a game that we really got up for. So we've just been talking to the guys about that. But I feel good because we got a veteran group, a group that knows how to handle this situation. And we're following a very similar routine to what we did last year when we won the championship. So, I just feel good about going into this week.
The chance to go back-to-back, what would that mean to you as a coach? What would that mean to these guys in this program?
Yeah, this is a storied program. It's won championships. We've won 3 so far. Nobody's ever won back-to-back. And so you can talk about great teams and the great Aggie teams and who's the best running back, quarterback that ever come through, that type of stuff. But no team's won it back-to-back. So in terms of football, our basketball has. And, kudos to them and Coach Hayes. But, on the football side, down in the deep South, we love football, and for an Aggie team to go back to back, it's I don't know, it's an historic moment. So, we're just looking for everybody to be out there Friday morning, 11 o'clock kickoff. So, it's actually going to be a good kickoff time. It maybe won't be so cold, might be a little wet, but we're working, practicing all week, getting ready for it.
It's the state championship game. This will be my last high school game. So, just going into it, it's state championship. We should be amped up, be ready to go. But I think it's going to be pretty good, it just being my last game with my guys, so it'll be nice.
All right, guys, that was Aggie's head coach, Coach Flo. I don't ever want to say his last name wrong.
Flournoy?
Flournoy. I just think that they call him Coach Flo, and I think that's so cool.
That's a better name.
I love it. I love when coaches have like a shortened like nickname.
Right.
I love it. I love that. It's just, I feels like he's a player's coach.
Yeah.
That's what the vibe that I get anytime I'm out there and he's with the guys. And then we also got to hear from senior quarterback Landon Duckworth, our reigning player of the year.
Yep.
He's our player of the week this week, so we'll get to see him at our end of the year player of the week banquet. That's going to be sometime in mid-January, so definitely looking forward to that. But before we even get there, we got to get through the finals. I'm so excited for the way that I could see this game going. I'm going to go ahead and say it now. Based on all of our teams, and I know we're going to talk about Bayside in a second and how difficult their test is going to be. But if I had to pick out of all, and I think you might have said this right before, but of all the teams I feel maybe the most confident in winning a state title, I'm kind of on the Jackson train too.
Yeah.
And I feel bad because I have been one of the ones that was like, St. Michael. Jackson's had injuries. It hasn't been the same. But they look like the Jackson that we saw last season at this point, throughout the regular season, into the postseason, and then going in. Had a historic game in the finals.
Yep.
What was the final in that, 69-3?
Yeah, I believe so.
And they broke like 4 or 5 records,
Yep.
like HSAA records. So, yeah, and like I think we talked about this last week as well. They're returning so many of those guys from last year. They're familiar with this place and what they need to do and what needs to be done. So, I just think it's going to be a good matchup, and go Aggies.
Yeah, there we go. All right, so our final matchup down here in 3A, we're talking about the Bayside Admirals coming off of their dominant win against Cole Moody and the Southside Selma Panthers.
I went out there. Can we talk about it?
Yeah, so Cole Moody.
Okay, so we talked about this a little before because we saw some highlights.
We saw some stats.
Well, hold on. The stats are what really painted this picture for us. And it's also, we were talking about this, and then there's been stories in USA Today. 2 weeks after we had been talking about Cole Moody and how outrageous his stats were. And I started to wonder. I was like, you know what? Who are they playing against? What is their region like? What's the competition that they are facing?
Yeah.
And we have discovered that it might not be the stiffest of.
I'm just wondering if the stats are legit.
Oh gosh, you're gonna really get us in trouble. Someone's gonna come for the throat.
I
could see how they are because of what they do.
Yeah.
When I tell you, it's basically just like step back and launch that thing downfield and hope that his tall receivers catch it. Like, that's the vibe that I got watching that game.
Yeah.
And then they do have a pretty talented running back. But it just seemed like they couldn't get – Bayside's defense just did so well.
Turned him over. I think they had like 3 pick sixes in this game.
Yeah, it was it got pretty ugly pretty quick. Bayside did have a turnover pretty early in the game.
Yeah.
From Davis Barnett.
Yeah.
But it did not seem to slow them down.
No.
A great crowd out there, also very chilly.
Yeah.
And you just never, when you get to this point in the season, like all these guys have been playing in like Alabama heat all season long, and then you get to the postseason and all of a sudden it's cold. I mean, Bayside, the guys on the sideline, like the ball boys, had those like jet looking heaters, and they were like twisting the ball and keeping the balls hot so that way Davis is like, you got to think like that's going to impact your game.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and if your fingers are frozen, how are you supposed to throw a dime in the back of the end zone, you know? So the ball boys were putting in work. Let me tell you, they had 2 of them things blasting. Anytime I walked by, I was like, can I have some of that heat, please? So, yeah, I think that could have been a factor in some turnovers in that game. But, yeah, I'm not – something didn't feel or look right.
We like the story of Cole Moody.
Great story.
Even in this game, I mean, it says he threw – 20 for 33 for 261 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. So I don't know. Look, 8th grader, lot of bright future ahead of him.
How many passes?
33.
But how many did he complete of those?
20.
That would make
60%, which is like a benchmark number.
There weren't a ton of okay, and keep in mind I only shot the first half.
Yeah.
But while I was there, wasn't much being complete.
Yeah.
The test was left unfinished.
Yeah.
You didn't bubble in all the bubbles.
Yeah, I mean we're just speculating here, but you know.
I mean that's literally me going off watching one game against a extremely talented Bayside Academy team.
No doubt.
I mean extremely talented. I think that I'm trying to think of guys that like stood out to me in that game for Bayside in particular. Noah Kane.
Had
a really good
no
game,
doubt.
I believe. Do you got stats on how he finished?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he had a 60-yard receiving touchdown, had a rushing touchdown, had a pick 6.
Yeah.
That dude was all over the place.
Yeah, just had such a great game. Brendan Yamani, you know, he always does well running the ball. And I think Davis only had that 1 interception.
He did.
Okay, only that 1 interception. So, and that was very early. And like I said, it was cold, and I feel like as soon as that interception happened, I mean, you started seeing the ball boys. I mean, they were like, they're heating that ball up. They're not playing anymore. No more turnovers, okay?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it really, between the defense, you know, with the defense having the pick 6s, it really took a lot of the pressure off the offense. You know, I mean, Davis threw for a touchdown. Mm-hmm. Brendan Yamani had 3 on the ground, but, you know, those were all kind of short yardage touchdowns. I mean, he only had 64 total yards, you know, and 3 touchdowns. But we've seen what this Bayside offense can do when they need to turn on. To me, they have so many playmakers on defense, and their front 7 is so stout, and their offensive line's good too. Mm-hmm. They're a tough team to play. If Yamani and Barnett are hot and the offense is clicking, we've been high on this team all year. You know, this is kind of one of our favorite teams from the area. We have a lot of Bayside people that like to listen to our podcast. But this is not biased talk. I mean, I think we both really believe this. Like, this team is pretty complete across the board.
Yeah, I would say so.
Now,
and they also, to me, and this is just, Bayside used to be in 4A. Correct?
Yeah, I think,
when I first got here, they were in 4A.
Yeah.
And this is their second season in 3A, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
They don't play like a 3A team.
No.
I'm being honest. They remind me kind of what Mobile Christian looked like the year that Mobile Christian won the state title in 3A.
Yeah.
Just so much talent, big-bodied guys, pretty good numbers, I would say, for a 3A school. And guys that play on both sides of the ball and do it so well.
Yeah.
I mean, they bring the same level of energy to defense as they do to offense, because you have to do that in lower classification schools like a 3A school. And I'm telling you, just what I saw Friday night, they're so talented. I also think it's an interesting. Coach Trotter, I mean, he was running a trench in that sideline. I mean, he paced up and down that sideline the entire time. There was one point in the game, I think Bayside was up like 13-0, and it just made me think of like the week before, Bayside was down 13-0 and then rallied back, and I think they won that game, 38-15?
Yes, I believe so.
The round before, and then they came out in this game and they hit Southside Selma in the mouth.
Yeah.
I mean, all the talk about the young, talented, record-breaking 8th grade quarterback.
Yep.
Bayside didn't even bat an eye. That defense just put on an absolute show, and I could see that happening in the finals. But we've talked about how difficult this test is.
Yeah, so they're running into a similar situation this week where Mars Hill Bible School, Mars Hill, whatever you want to call them. This has been sort of the juggernaut in 3A all season. Undefeated, 14-0, outscoring opponents 719-152. They've scored less than 50 3 times during the regular season. So far in the playoffs, they've scored 70, 42, 42, 48. And held opponents in the playoffs to 14-6, 0-16. This team has been the kind of the steamroller here in 3A all season. Now, they are a run-focused team. So they got a quarterback, Lawson Frederick, just thrown for over 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, nothing too crazy. But they've got 2 running backs, Hudson Higgins, who's rushed for almost 2,000 yards and 32 touchdowns, and Jackson Penn, who's rushed for over 1,800 yards and 34 touchdowns. And he is a cornerback recruit for Troy, so he's got 6 interceptions on the year as well. Their linebacker and free safety are the top 2 tacklers in 3A, Jesse Parker and Samuel Ashley, both over 160 tackles.
Can you tell me how many, like Bayside last week playing against Southside Selma, how many rushing yards did they allow?
Just 72 on 31 carries, 2 yards a carry. And
I felt like when Southside Selma's running back could get loose, he could get it done. I do feel like they had a talented running back. I feel like they did have a good run game. I just think that Bayside did so well stopping it.
Well, they if you remember 2 weeks before, I guess in the second round maybe, when they played Randolph County, Randolph County had the state's leading rusher in Mo Winston, and they held him to 25 yards on 11 carries.
Like I'm telling you, this Bayside defense is just nasty.
And a run-heavy team really plays into Bayside's strengths on defense, I think.
I would say so. I mean, they got those big-bodied guys that just shut it down. Like
they have got so many big dudes on both lines for a 3A school.
And that's literally that's my point, is like how big their guys are.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who else on their team that stands out to me. Billy Neal.
Yep. Owen Rank, or however you say his name, the D lineman. I mean, he is massive.
And then who else?
Monroe Parton.
Yep.
Noah Kane in the secondary.
Yeah. It's just
they've just got a lot of dudes, and we can give a couple other guys some shout outs here. Jack Wilkinson, he's good on defense. They got kid named Lad Powers. I know I've seen his name a few times this year. They've just got they've got a lot of guys up there on the front line that are big and are physical. Amos McDaniel. Will Allen, Noah Breland. They've got a bunch of guys up there, and I think I was talking to a Bayside parent earlier this week, and I think they got a couple tricks for this run heavy Mars Hill team. I won't say what, but I think they're gonna have a few tricks up their sleeve to
I could see
counter that rushing attack, I guess you could say.
Barrett Trotter just seems to be a very good coach. He means business. I'll tell you that. He absolutely means business. He is a former Auburn quarterback, so he knows an offense he knows what it takes to run a good offense. And then on the flip side of that, he knows what he needs to do to put stress on an opposing defense. So I think that's just it's just something that really comes from having a head coach that is a former quarterback. I just think you have like a step above anyone else in my opinion. So
and shout out to Monroe Parton, signed with Wake Forest.
That's right.
Today.
That is so. Is he the only one that signed today?
I think so. Let me.
We have a running article on the website,
and I think we'll talk more about all of our signees kind of next week once we get out of the Super 7. But yeah, we definitely see all you all.
Yes.
We will give you all your praise.
We do have a running article up on the web right now that we're constantly adding to as we're getting photos and stuff in from all of the signing day festivities. So if you have photos that you would like to send in, please do. And it's not just football. It doesn't matter if you signed for football, volleyball, basketball, track and field. There was a guy today from Daphne that got signed for wrestling. And I think it was like he's the first one out of Daphne to sign for this specific kind of school, maybe.
Okay.
I know it was a big deal. He said something about it in his speech. And then really cool for Kenny King to have Malik Franklin sign with Alabama. As you know, that's Daphne head coach Kenny King's alma mater. So for them to get to share that experience and just the recruitment process and how much it's changed from when Coach King was going through it to now Franklin going through it. So congratulations to all our signees, and I hope I'm not missing anybody from Bayside.
We'll kind of try and do a roundup of all of them next week when we get back after the Super 7. But until then, hey, games kick off Thursday this week. Bayside starts us off Thursday morning, and then Viger will play Thursday night. And then we got Jackson Friday morning, and Saraland to close out the whole Super 7 Friday night. So a lot of football to be played, and we're going to be rooting for all of our local teams.
Absolutely. I'm depressed. I'm sad it has to come to an end because it's just like, what are we going to do with ourselves?
This podcast isn't going anywhere.
It absolutely isn't.
Yeah.
I guess we're going to talk about recruitment process stuff, and hopefully we're going to have more guests on. Like, I would love to have a couple players, and I think that we should have every single one of our Player of the Week recipients at some
that would
point.
be cool.
I think that would be really fun, and I'm hoping that, like, when we bring home 4 Blue Map trophies, we can have some guys from these state championship teams come in and sit down and talk with us. We just don't. That's the thing about Big Friday Kickoff. Like, our interviews are so, like, you've got to be in our ear telling us, like, it's okay, it's time to, toss to break, or it's time to tag out. And I just wish we had more time to actually sit down and talk with these players and get to know them a little more. Because we have so much fun before we start going live for Big Friday Kickoff. Like, we always me and Nick sit there and get to chat with the guys before we go live and tell them what questions we're going to ask and just be like, hey, whatever. And you just get to know them so much more when it's not like a camera right in your face.
Right.
And I think that this space would be a better place for us to get to sit and get to talk with some of these guys. So that's definitely something we want to do. I would also love to have Larry from QB Country.
Sure.
Come on. Yeah. I absolutely love Larry. We met for the first time during the preseason. I want to say it was at practice between Davidson and St. Paul's when they had that joint practice. I think that's the first time me and Larry met. If I'm wrong about that, I'm so sorry. But, like, now I get to see you all the time, and we keep up with your content so much on socials and whatnot. You do such a good job. So I think it'd be cool to have guys like that do what we do, come in and talk about the recruitment process as well. Because he's always putting stuff out to help players get seen and noticed by these SEC programs. And
he's the best at it.
Genuinely, he absolutely is, and he's at a practice like every single day.
Oh yeah.
And when I talked, we saw each other at Daphne today. And he's getting ready to head up to Birmingham.
Yeah.
He's going to be up there for all the Super 7 action. So I'm jealous.
Yeah.
I'm very jealous. I'm very sad that me and Nick are here this week and not there. But as you know, someone's got to hold down the fort.
Hey, and we'll still be seeing plenty of you. Make sure you have your push notifications on, because we're going to be doing all kinds of stuff from here in between games, recapping games.
Halftime score updates.
Previewing the championship game. So there will be plenty of content coming from me and Emily this week.
Do you want to tease what else you've been working on really hard that's going to be coming up?
Not yet.
You want me to keep it quiet? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there is a surprise, though, coming soon. So just know Robert has something up his sleeve that he's been working extremely, extremely hard on. And it looks awesome already. I'm so excited. I know he's excited about it.
We'll talk about that maybe next week.
And Nick's going to join us.
Yes.
Nick's going to come on. We're going to do a full big Friday Kickoff season recap, maybe talk about some of our favorite places.
Yep.
I think I have a pretty good idea about where he and I stand on some of those. And we might just talk about some behind the scenes moments, during the shows, maybe stuff that y'all didn't know that was going on, stuff that we experienced. So, I think that would be cool, just to give y'all an inside glimpse, because y'all get to see one side of it, and we get to live all the sides of it. Yeah. So, but all in all, it's just been a blast. It really has. The next time we'll be sitting in this room, the season will have concluded, and we're going to find out whether we have 4 state champions, no state champions. I mean, it could go a multitude of ways, but the next time we get to come in here and record this podcast, we're going to have, this season will have ended, and that makes me so sad. But we've had such a blast doing this. Of course, this is our first season doing the Big Friday Kickoff podcast, so of course we'll have to do a recap of the season. But on to the Super 7. So excited. 4 of our teams. I'm hoping they bring home 4 blue maps, 4 rings. I'm excited.
Yeah.
How do I get one? They're not going to give it to me.
No, probably not.
But anyways, of course, make sure you have those push notifications turned on, like Robert said. And then Dacian Smith is going to bring you all the game previews, all the highlights, everything, all the action, all the top plays. He is absolutely the best when it comes to getting out there and running up and down a sideline. Shout out to Dacian for bringing us all the content this week, and me and Robert, we're going to have some digital stuff as well. Yep. So really looking forward to the state finals, and we will see y'all
next week.
Tomorrow.
I
mean, if you're in the TV verse and not the podcast verse, we will see y'all tomorrow. Make sure you tune into all the action we'll have. And then if you're just, listening, then we'll see y'all next week for a full season recap. I'm Emily Cochran. He's Robert Ristaneo. We'll see y'all tomorrow night.